Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are safe. I hope everything is good wherever you are. Make sure, guys, as you guys know, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Hit the bell for notifications. If you don't hit the bell button, then you won't get notifications whenever I put up a video. So the more of you that hit the bell icon, the more of you that will be notified, the more my videos will be pushed out. So yeah, the more of you that hit the bell, the better. So we can get the videos out there. But yeah, guys, I made a point the other day that if Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant don't fight, I want to see Caleb Plant fight somebody. I want to see Caleb Plant fight somebody top tier. Jermall Charlo has called out Caleb Plant, and Jermall Charlo said he wants to fight Caleb Plant. Now, that's the type of fight I want to see. That's the type of fight that I want to see Caleb Plant take. If Caleb Plant doesn't get the Canelo fight, he needs to roll the dice and fight somebody big. And when I mean somebody big, Jermall Charlo fits in that category. That is a big fight. That's a great fight. That's the kind of fight I want to see Caleb Plant involved in. And that's the kind of fight that firstly will increase his credibility and increase his profile if he is able to win. I'm had enough of, Caleb Truax and all those guys. And Anthony Durrell has called Caleb out. Nah, I'm not interested, to be honest. To be perfectly honest, I like Anthony Durrell. I think he's a good fighter, but that's not the type of fight that I think Caleb needs right now. Caleb needs a fight like a Jermall Charlo, someone that is going to increase his profile. Anthony Durrell, he's seen better days, in my opinion. I would listen, if they can't get the Jermall Charlo fight, Durrell won't be a bad fight, but I think Caleb needs big fights. He needs big money fights. Not just financially lucrative fights, but he needs fights that are going to increase his credibility, where people are going to say, wow, he just beat Jermall Charlo. And to be honest with you, the reason why I like the Jermall Charlo fight, it's a fight that should favor Caleb Plant, because Caleb Plant's bigger than Jermall Charlo. Also, Jermall Charlo can be outboxed. We've seen that. And Caleb Plant has the perfect style to outbox Jermall Charlo. And Caleb Plant being a bigger man, it shouldn't, Jermall Charlo likes to wear you down, grind you down. He is a good puncher. But again, Caleb's big. He's bigger than Jermall. Jermall's come from 154. Caleb's a natural 168. So he shouldn't get worn down by Jermall Charlo. So really, Caleb Plant, that's a perfect fight and style for Caleb Plant to look good. So if Jermall wants that fight, I think Caleb Plant should jump at that opportunity. That's a great fight. A great fight for him, a great fight for profile, because let's be honest, Jermall Charlo's a way bigger name and a way bigger star than Caleb Plant. So that's an opportunity for Caleb Plant to increase his profile, get a very credible win, because let's be honest, most people say, who has Caleb Plant beat? He beat Jose Utsakatsi for the title. Then after that, he hasn't really done a lot, and prior to that, he's not beaten a lot of top tier names. So if he was to beat Jermall Charlo, that would be a great win. I want to touch on Caleb Plant actually, because I remember Caleb Plant turned up to a presser when Caleb Truax was fighting James DeGale. And James DeGale completely dismissed, Caleb Plant, and he was having a dig at Caleb Plant and saying this, that, and the other. You're a bum. You're this, that, and the other. And at the time, I was like, who's this guy, shouting up at James DeGale? Because Caleb Plant was basically saying, when am I going to get my shot? Am I going to get my shot? And James DeGale was having bad mouthing him, saying all this, that, and the other. And afterwards, I saw Caleb Plant, break down in an interview. I wasn't aware of Caleb Plant's story and backstory, about his child and stuff. And when I got to realize, I was like, this guy's like inspired, like he's had to go through a lot. And that's why he broke down and stuff. In the interview he was doing with Fight Hype, I think Fight Hype, he actually broke down. He actually broke down in the interview because he was so upset and he had to go through a lot, and his journey's it's not been easy. And he's world champion now. So fair play to Caleb, come from difficult circumstances, not had it easy. you know, had to go through, you know, rough times in his life, and he's managed to get to the top, become world champion. So I would have loved for him to get the Canelo fight as well. Just because of the, you know, the backstory and what he's had to come through. I'm not sure people are aware of Caleb's backstory. You need to go research about him. This is a guy that's, you know, had seen some rough times, and gone through some horrible times, you know, and to be honest with him, he's come through it and he's become world champion, and he deserves what he gets. And I hope Caleb Plant can get a breakthrough fight, even if it's not a Canelo fight. Hopefully he can get a Jermall Charlo fight. I like that fight because I think that fight is stylistically a very good fight for him to win. Also, not just that, I think it does great for his profile, because let's be honest, Jermall Charlo is a way bigger name, way bigger star than Caleb Plant. You know, so that'll definitely increase his profile. So yeah, I actually think that that's a great fight. It's a fight. That's the kind of fight that I think Plant needs to be involved in if he wants to increase his increase his profile, increase his credibility. And I think that's what we expect. I want to see Caleb involved in big fights like that. If he's not going to be fighting Canelo Alvarez, I think that's what we all want, because we don't want to see Caleb Plant wasting time against, you know, older fighters or guys that are washed up or guys that aren't that quite good. We need to see these guys fight each other. And I've been saying it for a very long time, that it feels to me that Canelo's the only one that's fighting all the best guys in the division. These guys are not fighting each other. So this would be a start if this fight can come off. Again, I'm not holding my breath, and it's something that Jermall Charlo has said. He wants to fight Caleb Plant, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come off. You know, as we know in boxing, just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's going to come off. And it doesn't mean that this fight's going to come off either. I hope it does, and I hope that Jermall Charlo and Caleb Plant do fight, and I hope they do come together and they do fight. But I'm not here holding my breath and holding that, oh, it's definitely going to happen, because it may not. Let's be honest, it may not. But I hope it does, because it's the kind of fight that both fighters need. Jermall Charlo has been fighting Montiel and this, that, and the other. Like, Jermall needs a fight. He needs a big fight, and needs a challenging fight. He needs a fight that's going to test him. And this would be a great fight. Also, if Jermall Charlo wants that Canelo fight, he puts himself in prime position if he beats Caleb Plant, because if Jermall Charlo beats Caleb Plant, then Canelo would need to beat Jermall Charlo to become undisputed at 168. So this is why I think this is a perfect fight, you know? Or maybe, see, the Andrade fight's not possible because Andrade is with DAZN. So Andrade and Plant is not a possibility. But Charlo is with PBC. Plant is with PBC. It's an easy fight to make. There shouldn't be any issues. There shouldn't be any problems. Make the fight. Make the fight. And give the fans a great fight, because let's be honest, that would be a great fight. That would be a fight that fans would be interested for. That would be a fight that would definitely get the fans excited. That would definitely be a fight that, you know, people would be excited about. And that's what we want. We want to see fans. We want to see exciting fights. We want to see fights that, you know, get us excited. We want to see the best fight the best. And you have to say, Jermall Charlo against Caleb Plant are two of the best guys at 160 or 168. And they'll be fighting each other. And for me, Jermall, Andrade, all these guys at 160 can easily move up to 168. They have the frame for it. They have the frame to fight. And Caleb Plant isn't like a monster puncher. He is bigger than Jermall and Andrade, but he's not a monster puncher. He's a guy that's more of a slick style, more of a boxer. Use his fast hands, fast feet to box and move. He's not a big puncher. So this is why the stylistically makes for great fights. Stylistically, the fights for me are perfect fights. They're perfect fights for Jermall. They're perfect fights for Plant as well, because Plant is naturally the bigger guy. So yeah, I think it's a great fight. I think it's a great fight. I think you've got a boxer against a guy that's going to look to come forward and impose himself physically. If I was to edge towards somebody, I think it's a great fight, by the way. They both need to prove themselves, but I would say Caleb Plant for me would be the favorite in this fight, because I think Caleb Plant's boxing skills and movement would be a problem for Charlo. But this would be a great opportunity for Charlo to show that he's an elite fighter. You know, because Caleb Plant's style is a style that for me has caused Charlo a lot of trouble in the past. You know, Korobov was a perfect example. He caused him a lot of trouble. And there's other guys that were able to box and move against Charlo that really troubled him. So I do think this fight would be tough. And if he was to come through it, he legitimately should be getting a Canelo fight if he was to beat Plant. Because this, for me, would be a very tough fight. This would be a very difficult fight for Charlo. It wouldn't be an easy fight, one bit. So yeah, I would really be interested to see this fight, and I hope this fight does come off, because like I said, I think it's a great fight for both. I think it makes financial sense for both. I think it increases both guys' profile. I think it's a fight that both of them need. I don't think either of them had a fight that of this level, of this magnitude, to be honest with you. When you look at Jermall's resume, he hasn't really fought any of the top guys. This would be the first time both of these guys are fighting. You could potentially say fighting in a fight that's big, that's very big, between two of the very best. And I don't think either of them have yet to do that yet. So you could say Caleb's probably done that fighting Utsakatsi, but again, Utsakatsi not, he's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but I still think Jermall is at a higher level, his profile, and I think he's, for me, slightly better fighter than Jose Utsakatsi. So I think, and it'd make for a big fight. Do you understand? It'd be a big fight, because both Caleb, especially now after the Canelo negotiations, Caleb's profile has definitely increased in the world of boxing. And Jermall Charlo's already out there already. He's been out there for a while. So for me, it's the perfect time for PBC to make that fight. And whoever wins that fight will be massive and will put themselves in prime position for a Canelo fight, because then the fight with Canelo becomes massive, no matter who wins. If Jermall wins, that would be huge for I think the Canelo fight, and Canelo v Jermall would be huge if Jermall was to beat Plant. If Plant wins, again, Plant will become even bigger. And then the Canelo fight becomes even bigger. And then the numbers that may be talked about may be even bigger. So for me, a fight between Jermall and Plant makes perfect sense, because of the reasons. I think whoever wins that fight put themselves in prime position, and it makes the Canelo fight with the winner of that fight even bigger. Canelo v Charlo would be big now if they were to fight. But if Charlo was to fight Plant and beat Plant, then that fight becomes even bigger. And if Plant was to beat Charlo, then the Plant-Canelo fight becomes massive as well. So I think there's all to play for, really. I think that's, if the fight between Canelo and Plant doesn't happen, I would love to see Plant beat Charlo. I think that's a fight to make for me. But I don't know what you guys think. I'd love to know what your opinion is. Leave your thoughts, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.